Bishop McIntyre, and I'm here to give you a little tour of the chapel that was built in 1952 using funds from the ward through their fundraising and also from the church, and was designed. It's unique and quirky, so I thought I'd let you see what it's like up and down all the way through. All right, so here we are at the front west entrance, and we'll just go on inside. Kind of cool. On the outside they have all these nice carvings. Not sure what they are, but pretty exciting. So here we are in the west foyer, and you'll notice that everything is purple and the floor is blue. We used to have purplish type carpet, but that was a while ago. When I moved into this ward in 1989, it looked pretty much the same, and but with the purple. But what I noticed is that things had changed since then, and upgraded pretty much all the way around. So let's go into the chapel. I'd like to point out a couple of things that you'll see in the chapel. Originally, when we moved in, there were no pads on the seats, and that was kind of interesting, kind of made you stay awake a little bit more. Also, in this chapel, though you can't see it at the back, there's an actual pipe organ in this building. And there's doors on the side that you can go in if you have the key. Obviously I don't. You can see those. And also something else that's kind of interesting. Over on this side, it used to be that the ward clerk would sit up here and take notes of every sacrament meeting for the historical record, which we don't do anymore. And then if you look up there in the top, this light fixture was originally in the Provo temple in the celestial room, and Bishop Horsley, a bishop in the 1980s, early 80s, late 70s, he was in the Provo temple and he saw that and he thought it was so cool. He petitioned the church building department to come in and install that over our stand. So it's pretty cool that that's something that he brought over from the temple, that type of fixture. Which, funny, right now it's not even in the celestial room anymore. So history that we don't have there anymore. So now let's go into the other part of the building, and let's go. So now we're in the east foyer, and we're going to go into the gym. The gym originally was made out of wood, and then they decided about 25 years ago to put carpet in it, but that was terrible, especially for rug burns and basketball. And since then they've redone it and put pickleball lines as well as basketball in it. And when I moved into the ward, every time we threw the ball and hit the rim, it would make a loud jingling vibrating sound, and we realized that they had never put the screws into. So we finally put the screws in. It doesn't do that anymore. Okay. Up here on the stage, they've had lots of stage productions in this, but for the last probably 5-10 years, they haven't done any stage productions other than the primary getting up on there. So it's been great. Now I'm going to take you over to see some things in the kitchen. Originally, the kitchen used to be made so that people could have full-blown dinners here, and since then they've made it so that the stoves cannot get too hot, they just warm, and then they have this lovely old fan, which is kind of sounds like an aircraft going on. And to close it, you have to do this lovely pull the chain and stick it. Okay. This is at one time where they stored all the chairs, and now it just kind of is a junk place. It's where everybody throws the basketballs, volleyballs, and other stuff, just kind of a catch-all for everything. So sometimes you'll come by the church and everything will be off except for this one light in the top, which is on right now, and it has been for probably all week. So, all right, from here we're going to go down the hall, and this ward actually used to have 4 wards in it, 2 young marrieds and 2 family wards, but recently we had 3, but we're down to 2 now, with the bishop's office here for the 5th ward, bishop's office for the 7th ward, and then we have multiple classrooms down here, a multi-purpose room here with 3 different rooms in it, usually used for the youth, another one right here inside, and then for those people who are nursing babies or children, we have our mother's room. We try to make it as comfortable as possible with lots of places to sit and a place to change babies and some scriptures, and has a feed through the chapel, so if you need to during second reading, it's available to hear what's on there. So this, when I moved into the ward in 1989, this room was new just that year. They had added on this room, because the Relief Society was so large they couldn't fit them in the other room, which we call the priesthood room now. And even when they added this, they still didn't have enough room. There are right now 80 chairs set up, and at the time they had to split into 2 Relief Societies. So we had 80 here and about 70. At the time we had about 350 people each week who were attending church. And that was pretty spectacular. And now we have about between 130 and 170 each week. Okay. So we also have Sunday school in here, gospel doctrine, and they do have sometimes as well some institute classes going on here. So it's a nice room, has a good air conditioning and good lighting, so it's a great room for that. So strangely enough, sometimes we've had people who will come into the building and they will lift up the windows a little bit, and then later on they'll open them up, crawl in, and we've had people living in here at night, and one of our people who checks on them found somebody underneath the stage living there, scared the heck out of him. They called the police and everything, but so we always have to check things at night to make sure that they're locked up tight. So onward. Now we are going up a level. Okay, this is our we're going up a level to what has been usually the primary wing, but it used to be when we had over 100 kids, we would have this as Sunday school places for the youth as well. And this is all built in the 1950s. So each of the rooms here, nice and big, lots of places for the kids. And strangely enough, we have 2 women's bathrooms. Okay, one is up here, and one is on the other side of the building downstairs. And then we have 1 men's bathroom downstairs and then a family bathroom. So strange. Okay, so we have this. Here's our primary room. So we've had some changes in it over the years, but mostly it's about the same it was. Now you have this bench right here. This came out of the chapel, I believe, original chapel, and we used to have some small benches, which we'll show you later, that the kids sat on in here, but they now have just little chairs and big chairs for them. So this is a great room for them. When we were holding our meetings downstairs, and the primaries up here, sometimes they have these songs where they jump up and down. Downstairs, it sounds like an earthquake. All the kids jumping up and down like, holy cow, and it goes on for about 5 minutes. So we have to pause our meetings sometimes for that. All right, we continue going down the hall, and here's the stairwell that goes down to the main hall, and then we have multiple rooms, and you'll notice that almost each one of them has the original green board. Used to be called blackboards. Blackboards up here from the 1950s, never been changed. Some of them we have changed down to white boards downstairs, but up here Yeah, not that much big deal. Now, we have, going down the hallway, we have a whole row of classrooms on this side, and on the left-hand side, that's the gym. So this hallway right here goes right over the overflow of the chapel. So when people are running down this during sacrament meeting, if they're from another ward, you can really hear it. Now I'm going to take you on up to the fourth floor. Fourth floor, we have two sides of the fourth floor, and go up here. They actually, I'll show you when you get up here, they actually had classes they used to hold up here. And you can tell that if you were here with me at this time, you tell it's pretty warm up here, and it got pretty warm then. There are no windows, and right now you can see that they use it for heating and air conditioning up here. That wasn't here before, and you can tell right here is the green board, and this was a place, you can see a couple of the benches over there that they used to sit on, and they would hold class for youth and primary up here. And this is where one relief society, one of the 4 relief societies, had a closet, and this is a young women's closet that they still have some decorations from probably 15 or 20 years ago. Nobody's ever looked at them. And then if you were to come in here, you would see this goes right underneath the building, underneath the roof. So, wow. Yeah, you used to have a door on here, but they've blown new insulation and made it better than it used to be. But it used to be pretty warm up here, pretty warm indeed. Warm up here right now. It is. So I think it's kind of cool. At one point, we had a young man who was doing his Eagle project, and he was taking old Macintosh computers and reformatting them and packaging them, and he was going to give them to a company that was a nonprofit that was going to take them to places that didn't have computers. And so at one point we had, I don't know how many, probably 30 or 40 computers, monitors. You can see a couple of the monitors that were left here that never got taken with them from the 1990s. And unfortunately, they'll probably be here for another 15 years, or 20 or 30. So that was Spencer Hales, and he did get his Eagle. It was, I think, one day before he turned 18. So you can see this lovely stairwell, these pipes instead of the handrails. So that is engineering. All right, so moving on, we have the long hallway with multiple rooms and unusual shapes. Like you got this one that has a corner with a little desk in it going around the side. So so, and then we had them going all the way down, and all the way to the end. Now on the other end we have another 4th floor that you don't normally get to, and it's through this door. So we're going to go up and take a look at this. Also used to be a classroom. It's now a storage area. Let's see. Yep, turned it on. And once again, you can see, you can hear the squeak in the floor. All of this used to be just a classroom space, and they made it into a storage and a HVAC. And then here you see lots and lots of books that are way old. And let's see if I can get into here. Some closet space. I think at one time we found some, oh yeah, here's some benches that they used to use in here for the kids while they were in here. So some cool benches. And then this actually used to also be a nice closet before they added all this HVAC. And you can also see in here lots of manuals that we haven't used in 15, 20 years, but they're up here. If anybody ever needs to have one, if they really want one, they are here for them. So I imagine during the summer it was pretty warm up here, so I don't know if they held classes during the summer, but during the winter it would have been warm because all the heat would have risen and have been warm enough to hold class. So I'm not quite sure why they decided to make 2 rooms that were only accessible by 1 stairwell on each side, but they had different codes and different ways of doing things then. Okay, when we started this ward in 1989, we had all these closets, and we needed them with 4 wards here. And this, you can see things that have just been left in here for years and years and years, because we no longer need stuff. We just don't store that much stuff like we used to. And we actually had 3 nurseries, and they were full, all of them. Yeah, very nice. Of course, you see the little table just right for little tykes. And then recently, both wards and I came in and cleaned out probably 50 or 60 years worth of information that was no longer relevant, and put them away. And so this whole place, this whole room was just chock full of things that they would need. And this used to be 2 rooms, and so that we have 2 light switches. But this desk was here where they kept all the records for whatever was checked out. They had maps that were hanging down from each one of these that they could swing out and check out to people. Long maps, 6 to 8 feet long. And then all of these things were just covered with tons and tons of materials, and they would have, lots and lots of these. Oh, this is the system they used to coat posters and put them on poster board, the whole system doing that. So what we've done is taken a lot of the old sheet music, and you see some of them they're pretty old, some of them as much as 120 years old. We have taken them, so if you ever need to use some sheet music, we have all of it up here in alphabetical order, and lots of them, so if you need them for choir or something like that, you've got them right here. And we've got books, some posters, and then everything you need for your classrooms to teach. We've got chalk, pencils, paper, all those things, some extra sets of scriptures, and if you need to have something as part of a lesson for statues. And then we have some hangovers from we have an old keyboard that people used, we just kept for fun, and an old TV. Most people with their phones, we just don't need all those things anymore. So, and these used to have hundreds of pictures that they could check out, teachers could check out to use with a specific lesson, and we sent a lot of those to the dump. We did have a few things that were unusual. This original picture that we found amongst the stuff that's on a hardback, and then we have some other little fun things that we found. I don't know what they are right now, but we had some earphones. Okay. And don't forget, if you ever need a tape recorder, we got you covered here. Not that they eat you. Okay, so that's the library, and the library is open every Sunday. We also have this nursery, also another nursery. This is the other ward's nursery. And like I said, we used to have 3, and they were completely full every Sunday, but we're down to between 10 and 30 kids, depending on the day. We also added in this room, we added a family history mini library, so people can come in and get some help with family history. and print their stuff out. So it's a work in progress. We're just getting it started, but it's a great place to come and do family history with other people and get into the spirit of it and get some help. So, and then we just have another mini office that we used to hold, have a copier and things like that in there. Okay. Now we're going to go downstairs. On the right, this used to be part of the kitchen. They closed it off and they made it into a family restroom for parents and kids, and make sure it was handicap accessible. And then going down here, we have, used to be a bishop's office and a clerk's office, and this is the original Relief Society room, but now it's the priesthood room. It has a light switch here and a light switch over here. These 3 doors are for closet space for the Relief Society, and we're looking at probably using this one for one of the other auxiliaries. But you can see that this is big, but it's not quite as big as the other one. Even at like this, we got what, 10, 15, 20, we've got 40, maybe 50 people in here. We could probably get 60, and the other one holds about 80. So we're not quite sure why they made it, the other one only to fit about 80 when they need more, but it works out now. So they were looking ahead. We used to have a blonde grand piano right here, and during COVID, it disappeared. We don't know what happened to it until I talked to facilities, and they said that some other building needed it more than we did. So it's gone. Sad, but it's gone. And okay, we are going to continue on. We have our custodial's closet. This is the custodial closet, and this is the mother's lounge. I'll take you in here. This is kind of funny because a long time ago they had bathrooms, but they had in the mother's room, they had a place for mothers to sit in here, and they had, of course, a feed to the sacrament room, so you could sit in here, and they made good use of the space, but many women said they didn't want to be in a bathroom when they were trying to nurse their babies. So that's why we decided to get rid of that and just leave it. So, okay, so a long time ago, these up here, they used to have Polaroid pictures. We take a picture of a person or family when they moved into the ward, and we stick it up here with the names on it, and that worked for many years, but we no longer need it. So they just remain there until we figure out something else to do. Okay, and now we're going to go to one more place in the building, and we're going to travel across. Notice this is one of 3 ways to get from one side of the building to the other during sacrament meeting. You can go this way right in the middle of somebody's sacrament, which is kind of rude. You can go outside the building, or you can go up the stairs, over and down. There is no way to go on the ground floor around when the gym is open. Okay, so this is our door to the stage up there, and right now it's kind of a storage place for our pickleball and other things. But one place you don't know, and I don't know why they don't either take the door off or put a sign on it, but this is the downstairs, and there are 3 rooms down here, plus the utilities room for the boiler. And this is where right now we hold, in this big room, the marriage and family class. And this also, well, this used to be called the scout room when we had Boy Scouts here, and they used to have, you see those flags over there? We used to have about 70 or 80 of them. The young men every holiday would go around and pound these rebar into the ground in front of a house, and then put one of those flags on it. They did it as a fundraiser, and the boys generally were not happy to get up on their day off of school. So this is the Boy Scout closet, which hasn't seen much use since COVID, and so pretty stinky in here. not musty, I guess, but lots of tents and things like that that we haven't used for a while. I'm going to go in there now. Okay. And then if you didn't see it, going out this way goes out to the west, the east side of the building. So, and okay, and then continuing, we have two more. This is the young men's room, and that's been decorated for young men's. And you can see the Aaronic priesthood theme on there. And we put this whiteboard in because we got tired of the old blackboards in here. So I didn't know at the time that we could request whiteboards, and we hadn't been able to. So I found that they were getting rid of whiteboards in the school districts because they were having these big smart TVs. And so I think I got this thing for, I don't know, less than $10. And then I had my son come and help me put this in. Also the one that's in the release side of the room, we put that in because we needed whiteboards. Blackboards, you know, chalk and everything, we're kind of past that. So it's nice to have something like that here with the whiteboards. And then the last one is we have a young women's closet here and a young women's room here, also with decorations for young women's in it, and a couple more closets in here for them to put everything. So we have a lot of space in this building, and it is a quirky building, just unusual. And I'm not sure why they made some decisions the way they made them, but the church allowed the members to actually design their own chapels with, I guess, some help, but mostly they had local people design them. So, and then not only that, but they donated not just their money and fundraise for money, but they would actually donate their time and expertise. So this was a building that was built by the members, and so there's a lot of unusual things about it, because when you have a lot of people doing it without tons of expertise, you'll have things that are done differently. We'll call it that, differently. So, and down here in the boiler room, we have the boiler go off probably once or twice a year, and so we come into the chapel, and it's about 30 to 40 degrees. And so a couple times, a couple of the bishops have said, that's it, we're not having church today when it's 30 degrees. But I just tell people, bring your coat. And I tried one time to get like 3 or 4 space heaters in the chapel. That did nothing. No. So I'll go back up. And I guess the last place I'm going to show you, if you are new to the ward, you will probably come visit. And now if you're new to the ward, this is where I hope you come and visit me in the bishop's office. And I try to, each Sunday, have some candy for little kids and anybody else who wants one. I may not be the sweetest person in the world, but this makes up for it, I hope. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the chapel, and I hope you'll enjoy your time being here. We love everybody that comes into the ward, and we're sorry to see them leave if they do. And we're just happy to be of service. And so we welcome you officially to the Provo 5th Ward. Thanks.